Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint.
Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 370. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have an outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today, family, we're going to be talking to the founder of Alafia Products, Mr. Olowo-n'djo Tchala. And please buckle up your seatbelts, family. Make sure you get the show notes to this because this is an amazing interview as we talk to the founder of Alafia Products, who has a motto of beauty, equality, and empowerment. And we're really going to get into the power and the effects of social entrepreneurship. Now, listen to the type of impact that Alafia has had. And these numbers are from January 1st, 2020. So these numbers are old. And so as of that date, Alafia has directly impacted the lives of over 250,000 individuals in West Africa. And they focus on maternal care, having funded over 6,000 births, school supplies, bicycles for education, school construction, eyeglasses, and reforestation, just to name a few. So this is a business and an entrepreneur with a purpose of not just making money, but giving back and helping others. Now, before we get to today's show, I just want to share a few things with the BEB family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family. Please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and my resource links, such as the link to my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. Also, 2 platforms I've created to help circulate those worldwide black dollars, BeSmartByBlack.com and HireBlackFreelancers.com. And also, don't forget about my new rebranded, rebooted Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Academy. You can go to BEBacademy.com and get 5 days free access to the academy. And it has everything in there that an entrepreneur needs, from startup entrepreneurs to successful entrepreneurs, e-commerce, finance, marketing, everything that you need to build a successful business. Now, let's get ready for this amazing interview with the founder of Alafia Beauty Products, Mr. Olowo-n'djo Tchala. We are live with Mr. Olowo-n'djo Tchala, the founder of Alafia. Olowo-n'djo, how are you today, brother?
I'm well and I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Good. Now, I heard you just came back from a long trip, so we're going to take it easy on you today, all right?
Yeah, that's okay.
Cool. So can you tell my listeners who aren't familiar with you a little bit about yourself personally, where you're from, and then we're going to jump into your entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you. First of all, again, Jay, this journey is a collective journey. And I just want to say thanks to you and your team for ensuring that the community and the world is learning about the Black journey, Black economic journey.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. As far as for me, I mean, precisely, it goes along the lines of what you stand for. I come from Togo, and for those of you that don't know, Togo is a very small country in the west part of Africa, right next to Ghana. That used to be called the Gold Coast. And then on the right-hand side, you have Benin, that used to be called the Dahomey Kingdom. Those were all the kingdom before the colonialism. or even before the colonialism, before this slavery. And one thing that is interesting about Dahomey, today we talk about gender equalities, we talk about Black rights. It was the only kingdom in the human history, at least in recent history, where the women are the generals in that kingdom. But so Togo is just in between those two kingdoms. I come from a northern part of Togo, and were farming communities. 70% of our population in West Africa today live in the rural community, in the farming community. And like many young people like myself, by 6th grade, I drop out of school, work in the farm. My mother has 8 children. My father has 42 children. Oh, wow. So as you can, it's a big family, big community. But for personally, long story short, that extreme of poverty and grew up in an 8x10 room with 8 siblings and work in the farm have also taught me to be where I am today. And there are poverty everywhere in the world, and here in America, and in our communities in America. But our past does have something to do with our current. And what I learned from that is that I learned the importance of our culture, the roots of our culture. And I also learned that we really didn't have our destiny in our own hands. I look my mother and how hard she has to work, and I look the resources that we have. Long story short, I ended up in the state and went back to school, went to community college, transferred to University of California, Davis. And from there, I began to really understand the unjust of the world. Right. And the unjust of the world, I'm talking about economic unjust. Right. We all know on the face of the earth today, the continent of Africa has the most resources of any continent. But why are we so poor, and why did I have to grow up in the way in which I grew up? So those combined with understanding that we have a long way to go in terms of justice, in terms of equality, I thought the way that we should move forward is to create an economic enterprise. These economic enterprise has to embed moral principles and has to embed I talk about the culture in which I grew up to be the root foundation of it, and share with the world. And the process of that and selling and gaining the destiny of our resources, as I mentioned, and using the fund to put to educations and health and everything that maybe we can talk about later, so that youngsters like myself wouldn't have to drop out otherwise. So my journey is really to be of a servant, to our communities, and continue the journeys for those before us that have given themselves so that we can all be here today. But we have a lot to do and a long way to go. But I do think economic is one of the solutions.
Definitely. I want to let the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family know that just reading up on my brother, he has an amazing story. So you guys lock in, because I'm sure this is going to be an amazing interview that's going to be full of gems and things that we can take away. The first thing I want to ask you, Olowo-n'djo, is how old were you when you came over to the States?
I was I was old enough to get married.
Okay. Oh, so your spouse is from the States?
Yeah, I was around 18 years old.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
It's interesting, Jay. I feel like coming to the state, once you're a part of Africa, it doesn't matter if you come 18 years ago or 1,000 years ago. Right. We're Africans, man, and you just you can never really feel that you left. That's the power of the continent. I haven't really felt like I really have left, and I hope you don't feel that way either.
No, not at all, brother. Not at all. All right, cool. So when you got over here, you said to community college, and then you went to what, UC Davis?
That's right. So when I got here, the word I can say in English was essentially thank you, right? Because the gratitude is always important to me. So I can say thank you. That was pretty much it.
Wow.
I spoke French and 7 other languages. Togo has about 40 different languages.
Wow.
So I felt that I need to learn English fairly quickly. So I started going to ESL courses, Adult Learning Education Program. And those are typically done in community colleges because I wanted to learn English.
Right.
But from there, I quickly realized if I continue and I can learn English and I get to the college level credit, then I can transfer to university. So it happened naturally. So that's how I was able to essentially never gone to high school in my life and managed to go to university. When I got to UC Davis, at the time I wanted to study a civil engineer because I was concerned about the water issue. See, back home, we have to go a long way to go get water every morning and every night. So I wanted to get involved with the water matters. But I was also very interested in the Black movement of the past, right, in the 1960s, and was very interested in the decolonizations of Africa. For those of you that don't know, essentially after the slavery from the 1860s all the way to 1965, the great majority of our continent was under the rule of Europeans. So we had a kind of physical decolonization in 1965. So I was very interested in understanding that because I think that was important to understand. And so that led me to the study of essentially capitalism. And that's what I study at the UC Davis.
Yeah, capitalism, I tell you, you got to have it. In order to be a philanthropist, you have to have capitalism to be able to have something to give.
Definitely, you do. And it's we have to. It's necessary today. It's a necessary tool.
Right.
And again, as we talk, I will explain why I feel so critical that we maintain the control over our resources. And when I say resources, I'm not just talking about raw materials. I'm talking about our intellectual properties, our traditional knowledge, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that we're definitely going to get into that. I wanted to ask you, when did you start Alafia? And if you can just tell people exactly what type of products that you sell, and then we'll get into the business and the social aspect behind the business.
Thank you. So I started Alafia when I still had 1 year left at the university. I was one of those boys that I felt it was a sense of urgency, right? That if something's not done today, that the fate of Africa is going to be doomed. It was that kind of mindset. It was from the urgent perspective. So that was in 2003 that we first incorporated. And at the time, I still had 1 year left to finish my studies at the UC Davis. But it wasn't until 2004 that we started to put the product in actual jars or bottles. Okay. Because at the beginning, and we'll talk about the formations of the structure of Alafia model. But at the beginning, it was let's mobilize these materials that we have, in these cases, shea butter, because shea trees are only found in the savanna of West Africa. Nowhere else in the world that you can find shea trees by the savanna of West Africa, which spans over 16 different countries. Wow. These are vast, large area. But anyhow, so it was just to sell the raw materials, and within 1 year, I quickly realized that no, the money is on the shelf. The money is on the finished product, not on the raw materials. So that's when we start to put the product in the jars, going to street fairs, and then going to health food stores, and build from there all the way to the Walmart today.
Wow, that's amazing. So tell some of the tell the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint listeners what are some of your main products that you have in addition to the shea butter.
We're quite fortunate. Altogether, Alafia has 190 different products. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm looking at you, Jane. I'm saying Alafia has every product for every part of your body. No, we do. So we make shampoo and conditioners. And within that, it gets a little bit complicated. You have to understand what hair type, right. The thickness of the hair, and what product goes for what, and the quantity and formulation. These not just selling shea butter or making shea butter. These is about the need of the functionality and the efficacy of the product. We have face product, that are not just a shea butter based. You see things like moringa, things like turmeric. And when it comes to the bodies, any form of body wash and body lotion, so on and so forth. But with all of these different products, there are also major focus, right? The major focus is authenticity. And to me, authenticity is what? You look at African black soap, because at the base of all of these, I'm trying to tell the world that Africa has something to offer the world. Right. And our science is fundamental to the history of humankind. So with all these products, I think our authentic African black soap is one of the key. And those you can use as a body wash, as a shampoo, as a multi-purpose soap. And so it's what I grew up with. And that's one of our main products.
Right.
So we have, and we also have baby product or children product. In fact, some of our top selling product are children product, the bubble bath. And these are important because the cleanness, the ultra cleanness of the ingredients, we're very fortunate for moms to really, when you look at ingredients very closely, you want to have ingredients that are geared and are made for our sensitive and our new ones.
Right. Now that's amazing. 190 products. And one thing that you mentioned was authenticity. So when you talked about the black soap, my wife loves black soap, and we go to all the way from Philadelphia to New Jersey.
Yeah.
One place that has authentic black soap. And so
Jay, you don't need to drive anymore.
Yeah,
I'll deliver it to your house.
That's what I'm going to That's what we're going to do, brother. But it's funny. One of my best friends, one of my neighbors, I mentioned before we started recording, is from Ghana.
That's right.
I had called him one day, but I was like too late. He was in the airport. And I said, brother, you got to bring me like 20 pounds of black soap. But he said, man, I'm already in the airport. You should have.
That's right.
I was like, oh. But yeah, the authentic products. And so if you start looking, I just want to ask you about authenticity. So when you start looking at like black soap, you'll see a lot of stuff like on Alibaba from China and all of that stuff. What is the difference? Is it the way that it's formulated to be considered authentic, or is it where it comes from? Or
these are very important topic in some ways, because on one hand, Africa is used in the ways that's negative. On one hand, when it will make money for certain people, is used to that benefit, and the people that make money are not the Africans.
Right.
And when I say Africa, I say African descent. Right. To me, Africa is anybody of a descendant of Africa.
Right.
And so let's bring it back to just the black soap.
Okay.
The black soap is only type of soap, just like you have a triple mill French soap that originated in France. Right. Black soap originated in West Africa. And the way in which it's made, it helps you to understand, is this truly an African authentically created or not? And it's simple, is the ingredient. Gotcha. You take a black soap, for instance, that has oils that are not even found in Africa, and it's called black soap. That doesn't make sense. Right. And then when we bring it back to the realities of it, is really how it's combined. Okay. When you make an authentic African black soap, you're using the ash to react the oils, to turn those oils into soap. Right. And if you don't use the ash, then that's not the traditional way. And this soap is cooked in open flame, and then is cured in the sun for about 3 weeks. Wow. For it to cure fully. And it's powder soap. When the true black soap, when it begins, is powder soap. People don't think of soap as being powder, but it's come as a powder, and you can form it on your hand, or you can put it in a clay pot with a little water, and it become like a gel. So to answer your question very simply, Yes, we do see lots of things that may have African name or African related on it. Unfortunately, we live in a world where there's misinformation, and I ask the world that what we need to do is to just look a little bit deeper, look at how are those ingredients combined, and above all, where is it coming from? Who's making it? Who are those people? We need to understand. We can't just consume the product. We need to understand who is behind it, because that matters as well.
It does. It does. What was your first product that you brought to market? Was it your shea butter or?
It's funny we're talking about the black soap, right?
Oh, okay.
I always believe the basics works. We had the pure shea butter, and the pure shea butter essentially you can use it as a full moisturizer, and then you have the black soap that could do the shampoo and the body wash. Those were our first product, because again, even though we have a whole research and development laboratory, for me, I have to bring it back down to the very basics of our traditional knowledge. I think fundamentally, I don't care if you go to Harvard and they study some type of chemistry, our people through our history know how to combine basic things. And we do need all of it. We need the science of today, and we need the ancient science to come together. And that is really the how Alafia's concept of formulation work, starting with the basics.
So when you started, did you have the vision of building it that big, or did you start it as a side business, not knowing what it was going to turn into?
I wasn't really thinking about size. I was thinking about really about revolution. And don't want to scare nobody when I say revolution.
That's all right.
This is a peaceful revolution.
Right.
It's just to give you the magnitude of the way in which I was thinking about Lafayette. Right? I wasn't thinking of Lafayette to something that would just put money in my pocket. It was really about how do we move our resources and traditional knowledge and in what Black people have understood for centuries, and to use that to really be able to maintain and have something to serve our destiny. I really, when I look at it from, you got these 17, 18 years ago, I just felt that we don't have our economic destiny in our own hands, and so I was looking for a way to do that. And our size today, I'm grateful for the size that we are, but I think we got a longer way to go, and I think Black enterprises are to be big and dominant.
Right. Now that makes a lot of sense, and controlling the resources. And I always talk about vertical integration, so being able to control as much as the vertical as you can. Where do you guys manufacture? Is it in Africa or the States, or a combination, or?
Yes, it's a combination. So you talk about vertically integrated. Alafia is a vertically integrated model and enterprise, and I'll answer the question in terms of where do we manufacture, and the key there for vertical integration for Alafia is it allows us to maintain our ability of ethic. And when I say ethics, it's really come down to how do you treat the people in the supply chain. And if you're vertically integrated, you understand exactly where that shea nuts is from, who collected that shea nut, what family collected that shea nuts, before it even goes into what we call the Alafia village, you can call Alafia facility, where we make it ourselves into the shea butter or into the black soap.
Wow.
And the shea butter or the soap then comes to Olympia, Washington, where I'm speaking to you from today. And we have our own facility here. We used to do it in the garage here.
Wow. Okay.
And so we'll take it and add the essential oils and all these other things that we add to it and put in the bottles and then send it off. And when we get the money, we pump the money back into the communities that deserve it the most. So everybody benefit along the way. Right. In this case, the people in Africa are getting the gain and the right that they should have. And the people in America, we're creating jobs here in America as well. And above all, offering America, in my view, something of an alternative that's real. So, and I think that's where we are to be. We're not begging for nothing. We're saying we have something that's unique. And with that is something that embodies morals. And that's what we're sharing with the world.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. You speak a lot about morals and ethics. Where did that come from? Who instilled that in you?
You know, there are certain things sometimes that we'll say we don't know, right? It's almost you know, there are certain answers that we don't know. But I feel that for me, that really come from my mother. I really do. I think you know, grew up with her and understanding how she shared the little space, how she shared the little food, or even if we were to have food once a day, how she shared that with the strangers. And I think also how she taught us little things. You shall not steal. You shall sweat for every little bit that you get. And how not to be attached to just materials. So it's hard to say this way, but I think is what I saw growing up. Even the most difficult time, somehow she helped me to understand that self-dignity is important. And don't get me wrong, Jay, I'm not a perfect man by any means, not a perfect human being. But I do understand the right and wrong, and I do commit my life to trying to bring justice.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because you had hit on some key topics, because making money is one thing, but serving others in the process is the greater good. And I really appreciate your story, and I really appreciate the mindset behind your business and your movement. It's really a movement,
Thank you.
not just a
Thank
business.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
brother. And because we're going to talk about some of the things that you're doing with Alafia and how you're impacting the community. In terms of, you had mentioned that you were in your garage, right?
Yeah.
Your products together. Yeah, I know a lot of the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family who's listening probably been doing the same thing and still might be doing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you transition from putting the products together yourself and then taking it and scaling it to another level where now you're doing the manufacturing and you're not physically scooping product together and stuff like that? How did you make that transition?
You know, it's a life journey, and first of all, yeah, for the Black brothers and Black sisters out there that may be in the garage, I think one thing is first is to see the garage as a stepping stone, right? That is never to see as this is where I am.
Right.
If that makes sense, where I'm trying to go with this, because you got to have a form of vision in your head where you want to go. I'm speaking for me, right? For me, I was in the garage, not because I want to be in the garage. I was in the garage because that's all I could afford, right? You live in the house, and then the garage is part of the monthly payment. Right. But really what you want to go is the manufacturing. You need to be able to scale. And that's why these come down to understanding, why am I doing this, right? Because if you understand fundamentally why you're doing it, and it could be purely for money, nothing wrong with that. If you're doing for money, well, then imagine in your head how big you want to be.
Right.
Because once you have those in your head, then you go from step by step. And I think for me, is also scaling with the market.
Okay.
Right. Scaling with the market means, okay, this year I have 20 accounts. Next year, I'm going to have 30 accounts. I need to make a little bit more. This space is not going to help me be able to produce what I promised the market. So I went naturally, and it's not one way to really be able to answer that question, except that in my mind, I had a vision that I'm going to have a large facility, not just one, multiple facilities. But this is where I am now, and this is where I need to go. And I built one step at a time, And don't get me wrong, capital will always be limited. Right. If you're just waiting and say, well, I need to have the money before I can do these, or I need to have these before I can do these. Yes, all of that are ingredients of scale. But first is embodying the vision of where you want to go. And it's almost like I ride horses, yeah.
Okay.
And when you ride a horse, when you want to turn right or left, you don't really turn the horse. Is in your mind is how you move your body, how you become one. And I think to me, sometimes when I envision, at least with production and business, is really be able to know that these are the direction I'm turning, even if you haven't really turned your signals on, say I'm turning left or right.
Right. Now it makes a lot of sense, man. You had mentioned basically taking your time and building up so you can move to the next step out of the garage and into stores. How did you get your first customers with your products when you were in the garage? Were you knocking on doors, or how did that look?
Even today, right? Is a changing environment. In the time that we started, is not an Instagram world or Facebook world. We're talking about 17 years ago.
Right.
And in fact, I didn't start my own Instagram account until a year ago, so I'm still learning those things. It's a really old school way. But
right.
Really, for me, there was something that was important that I thought was for Lafayette was interaction, people's interaction. I wanted people to begin to respect and understand Africa. And some of that involved conversation, right? So how do you have a conversation? You got to be in the stores. So if you look in the early days, I'm there doing demos. So To answer your question, it was really going to street, at the street fairs, you pay $200 and you have the whole weekend. And you're selling your thing. People begin to say, okay, I saw this product. And then you go to the store, and we start in health food stores because we have a natural product. Mm-hmm. And in the health food stores, I literally went from one health food store to the next. Right here in downtown Olympia, the little co-op, I went there, in the little jars and poured the shea butter in, and we didn't even have a UPC. I didn't understand what UPC even meant.
No barcodes, huh?
I didn't know what UPCs meant, but the stores say, we can sell these because it's a co-op, but we need to be able to scan these things. Right. So how do you scan it? It's something called UPC. So you get on Google and you try to figure out, what UPC. Really those little steps. And from there you go to regional stores, right? Larger accounts, and then you begin to understand that what really needs to happen, and you need to have a national presence, and then where you can focus. Right? We make bath product at the end of the day. We are in cleansing business. We make bath product and pick your focus. And Africa makes soap. We've been making soap before life began. So that's just one step at a time. But you know what? There is a question there, though. If you look today, let's say there's a sister out there or there's a brother out there that wants to get a product into Target, for instance. Right. You can't find anything listed in America today that say, oh, here's a buyer for this person. Or here's this person, let me send the samples to this person. Yeah, you can have an address for a corporate Target or something. So those things are not published. Right. They're not published. So the question is, well, how do I get my product there when the market's not even telling me what to even present my product? So for me, and what I did is I would just write letters to those corporate offices. I'll sit down and I'll write letters. To get into Whole Food, I just keep writing letters, explaining why they need to carry this product. And not only on the basis of doing good, but on the basis that these needed for their customers, right? Because it's about relevancy. You could be doing the most moral thing. If you're not relevant to the market, nobody cares. Right. And so just that those are the steps. And once you get a little momentum on the regional store carrying it, you go to a larger store, and with the larger store, now you're building numbers, right? You're building record. And you can go to a bigger guy and say, hey, look, my record. This one works, this one doesn't work. And at the same time, you're building scale. So it's a step by step. For me, everybody does something different. There are people that can sit in the room, they have a whole strategic plan and they can follow it. They have a team that will do it, but we didn't have that. I have to do it naturally, but I knew that like I told you, in my head, this revolution And what does a revolution does? Revolution, it picks momentum, right? Revolution gives everybody to contribute. And that's what I was doing. Everybody has to chip in.
Now, let me ask you, because I was interviewing a sister, it hasn't dropped yet, that has a product called Glam Scrubs. She's in Walmart and a lot of the big chains like you are. How getting in there is one thing. How do you support the sales for these big box stores? Because I know if you don't sell, after a while, they're gonna, tell you, hey, come and get your stuff.
I don't know, Jay. I think you may be a little bit nicer than those guys. You say after a little while, they don't wait for a little while. As if you don't sell right away. Right? And we actually made that mistake. We made that grave mistake. I did, and I have to take responsibility for it. This was back in 17. Walmart actually came to us because I knew that I didn't quite want to be at Walmart at the time. Walmart came to us, and when you see opportunities like that, you have to ask yourself, is that something that you can swallow? Right. And if you're in the movement, there's nothing that you're afraid of, right? So we went, but I didn't precisely thought through what you just mentioned. Right? I thought, okay, what is our capacity of supply? What's the scale? How do we scale on the ground and scale here? Because one thing about Walmart, as everybody knows, is if you don't ship 99% on time, they bill you. They charge you for their loss. So I was concerned really about our production capabilities, and no problem, we can do that. But even what was more important that I felt to do is how to support the product on shelf so that it turned. So I learned, and guess what? From there, I make sure that now we, anything that we put in those stores, that we have a plan on how we're going to support it, and we also do a whole study. Is this product actually belong there? Is this the right product? Are we the right people to be there? So it's a continual learning, but all I can say that producing is one thing, but understanding how you're going to support it. And these days, these really involve very simple things these days. It involves being able to have a relationship with the particular retailer, in this case, Walmart. And it also involves having the team that actually understand our business, to be honest with you. I understood how Whole Food worked. I didn't understand how Walmart worked. So I hire people who understand how Walmart works.
Now, do they bring people out and do demonstrations and stuff at the Walmart stores and locations?
Certainly, they do. And where I went in an environment where you couldn't really do those physical face-to-face, but those are really key areas to be able to do those. But now we're doing sample mailing, right? Where we're mailing the samples to the folks, and do different end caps, anything that we can get folks to just be able to try the product, and even more importantly, to know that it's there. With Alafia. Because we're so heavy in the natural, and the mass market is new for us, and some folks don't know that we're there. So we have a kind of a double work to do. One is to ensure that people walking to the store can see the product, and another is to let the world know that we are in Walmart. In fact, they can go and pick up the product there.
Right. So what are some of the big stores you're in? Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, any other big chains that you're in?
Yes, so right, Bath and Beyond. We're going to be rolling into CVS and to Rite Aid here in a couple months, and we're working right now by the end of the year to roll into Walgreens. And of course, we are in all the major e-commerce platforms as we speak. Our goal within the next 3 years is to triple or quadruple the size of the enterprise. So we have big plans, and I can tell you from where I'm sitting, Jay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go because for many reasons. I just got back from home. And when you witness the impact that our customers, our friends and families here in America, because of their purchase, what we're able to do back home and what home is able to do for the folks here. I think you gotta go, and I think that I'm so convinced that the fact that we're able to save lives, there's nothing I always said is that's worth more than human life, and that at the end of the day, that's what Alafia is trying to do. So and how do we do that? We got to get bigger, and being bigger means that we're able to hold our position in the marketplace. And I think it's our right. You look at lots of raw materials around the world. Those are African raw materials. You can't even have an iPhone today, or even a Samsung, and 90% of the content not being from African ingredients. I just believe strongly, and have always believed that what we have in the world ought to empower African people.
Man, I want to touch on something you said. So we talked about making money, and that's good because you're in business to make money. But let's talk about some of the social impact and the giving that Alafia does. I'm looking at a sheet here. It talks about maternal care, 5,000 plus births, school supplies, 37,000 plus recipients, over 9,000 bicycles for education, 15 schools constructed, over 28,000 eyeglasses, reforestation, 93,000 trees planted. Brother, and I know these are probably old numbers, but
those are old numbers. And we put it right in our bottles too. Every year we publish those numbers in our bottles, because I see that those are public accountability. You got to be accountable to the public and to your social investment. So those are published numbers that we update. So yes, those numbers that you have there are a year and a half or 2 years behind.
Okay.
Because of the time lag on printing the labels.
Yeah.
But yes, when I said the movement, the revolution is that's really what it's about, right? You have to put something back into what you take,
right?
And I think fundamentally, Africa does not need any form of handout. Don't get me wrong, there are times where people do need support, even here.
Right. Right.
But what we need to do, not only that we need to trade our raw materials under the ethical principles, is that we're putting something back into what we're taking. When we're taking that shea butter, when we're taking that black soap, when we're taking that knowledge, right, that century and century-old knowledge on how to formulate, we're taking something out. It's only fair to put back in. But what do we put it back in? How we put it back in? Just money alone itself is not the only way, but that money needs to be put in a way that, as I said, how do we do it so youngsters, as I was at one point, wouldn't drop out because your mom can buy you a pen or pencil to write with.
Right.
So each of those initiatives that you saw, I think that for me, not only that they're personal, but they must do. Right. And they must do because our problems are the size of our problem cannot be wrapped around the person's mind. So we have to do many things from multiple directions. Economics, we can call it business, must be at the forefront first. And then we invest. And those investments need to be for comprehensive. What do I mean by that? That's where you see the environment being part of it. We need our environment. If we don't plant our trees, we have erosion. When you have erosion, you lose the topsoil. I said 70% of our communities are living in rural community. So we have to grow our own food. So we need the trees to maintain the topsoil so that we don't lead to hunger. So each of those Alafia community projects have a very specific intention about the future generation and to help maintain the current generation. And when you look into the education, and I'll tell you something, Jay, that often I don't say publicly, but I'm going to say it. And don't worry, it's clean. We won't be all.
Thank you, brother.
We invest in education, and invest in education. You have to ask yourself, how is it that Lafias talk about let's maintain our traditional ways of life or traditional knowledge, yet you're investing in these Euro literature. It's a Euro literature, right? French education, English education, those are from literature from Europe. And because of a colonialism, that is the type of education that we have. So in some ways, it's almost as if I am myself becoming the colonizers, because the colonizers imposed the education system that we have. So, but we have to adjust to the world. And I think there's a way to coexist, because if we don't invest in education, particularly for our young girls' education,
right,
then how do we understand the market information? The world is governed with a certain market information, and without that understanding of that market information, you're set behind. And that's how you get dominated, you get control. So it is important, in my view, the investment in education, is because that's a process for us to gain the market information from the world, because that's the language of the world.
Right.
But so it's a combination. So and when it comes to maternity, again, to me, I have sisters that I lost simply because we can't spend that $2 to buy antibiotic after the infections after birth. I felt that again, there's no reason for for women to be dying for things that we can prevent them for. And these are also important in terms of that economics, right? Because when we lose a mother, either we like it or not, the other children are more likely to drop out. And these are not just me, those are facts out there. So if we need our children to be in school, we need to keep our mothers alive, because we need to break the cycle of poverty. And we can break the cycle of poverty if we combine economic and education.
Right. That's powerful, man. So let me ask you, with all of your social impact work that you're doing, are you working through other organizations, or have you created your own organization to administer everything you're doing?
So we're vertically upward and we're vertically downward. So there's a whole Alafia body that not only make that produce all the things this way, and we also implement this way, a whole different team. Wow. And the reason for that, and we do have partners, but we are the one implementing. And this is because I feel like Africans understand African problems. And you got to have people that live in locality where the problem is.
Right.
You can't be in France and then say this is a solution for some place in Togo. It doesn't work. So for us is to have individuals on the ground. And I myself, as much as I have to be in the market, understand the market, I must also continue to understand the ground, because that's how you can maintain the impact. So yes, the plan is to continue for Lafayette to do the implementation, because we need to measure the impact.
Right.
But also we are working for other organizations. Even here in the US, we begin this year to put 5% of our Beautiful Curl line with Sister Song, which is for brown women's reproductive justice here in America, based out of Atlanta, so that we can, because we have as you know, the matters in our communities here in America are tremendous.
Right.
And it is true that Lafayette focuses in Africa, but for me, when it comes down to it, it is about the Black people all around the world.
Exactly. Do you guys, are you sold in I know you're sold obviously in the States. Where else, what other countries are you sold in, man?
We sell in South Korea quite a bit. And we also sell in Australia. Australia is one of our strongest international market, and of course our neighbors here in Canada. In the third quarter, we're going to open our European market. We have been doing tests in Europe for the last 2 years, but we're going full blown in Europe in the second and third quarter this year. And of course, the motherland is part of that as well.
Where, what are some of the major areas in Europe that you're going to focus on first?
Well, Jay, if I tell you that, and I'm telling the strategy to my competitors.
Oh, all right. We don't want to give that out, brother. We're going to keep that in the gonna keep that in the family, bro.
Yeah, we'll keep that in the family. Yeah, let's just do
that. I wanted to ask you. You have such a large footprint in terms of your production, your manufacturing, your social impact. Where do you see Alafia and yourself in 5 years from now?
Well, I think it's only the divine who could define where I'll be in 5 years. That's not for me to say. But if I was given the prayers and the choice to be, I think one, I would like within 5 years to be in at least 6 African countries. We started already. When I say 6 African countries, to have the model, we work in 3 right now. We work in Burkina Faso, we work in Ghana, and we work in Togo. Okay. I want my vision and my hope is within 5 years that we are pretty much in close to 16 different African countries with the same model that we have, because we can see the impact on that. When it comes to America, I do believe that Alafia ought to maintain the middle muscle, I call it middle muscle, within the personal care, within the natural personal care, all across markets, right? Across market, I mean, e-commerce to your regular stores, whatever it might be, and be the leading, soap or body wash provider in America with the roots from the continent, right? And for everybody, really, for everybody. Right? We are a brand. It is true that within our brand, we have products that are very specific for different skin types, skin tone, hair type, and so on. But at the end of the day, we're going to produce and sell to everybody. We need the whole world to be respecting Africa. In 5 years, if there's a better person that will come around, that could be a better CEO, then I'll step aside. Right. What matters the most is not for me to continue to be the CEO of Alafia. What matters the most is the mission carries on. But as I stand right now, I'm very blessed. I'm healthy. I'm strong. I'm ready to go. And so I'll keep going until whatever the mission demands. I'm here to serve the mission.
I want the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family to really listen to what my brother just said right there, because there's tons of products that we can pick and choose from on the shelf. But you're talking about, this isn't just a product, guys. This is a movement. This is a company, a CEO, a brother with a mission to give back and help others. And that's what separates Alafia from a lot or most of the other players out there. There's no social concept that any of these other companies have. And so when we support my brother, we're not supporting just his business. We're supporting the continent. We're supporting the people. And that's what it's really about. It's about service. And so this is something, and I'm so glad we finally got together. We were missing each other for a minute.
We have. But
yeah.
There's a right time for everything.
It's I couldn't have said it better. It's the right time for everything. And so, what we always do, BEB family, anybody that's on the podcast, on the show, they're on here for a reason. That means they're doing good things. So we need you guys to support my brother, Alafia products. Make sure you support it. Go to the stores, go online and support these products, the authentic products. We're not talking about knockoff products from somewhere else.
No.
And we're talking about supporting a company, a business that's employing people that need the employment, that's helping people that need the help. So, man, when I started reading about you and your company and your mission, brother, that thing just filled my heart, man, because we need more of that. It's not just about making money, guys. It's about making an impact. Make your money, but also make your impact.
Thank you,
brother. How can people? I got a couple more questions. I'm not gonna hold you too much longer. How can people buy your products? I know just mention some of the stores and also your online, how they can support you.
I first of all, thank you, Jay. Supporting each other I think, if I may,
Yes,
we
sir.
all we all we all can contribute in the world. It doesn't mean that we all have to be on our boots and fighting. There's so many ways that we could create impact. And even with the struggles that we have in America, everybody can contribute. So in our case, I do think, buying a Lafayette product, we know that is contributing to our communities, both here and back home. And these is about really bringing the Black community together. I think our product is about unification, and buying them help to continue that unification. And I think one way to help support us is through our website, alafia.com. That's just ALAFFIA.com. And obviously we're available in the stores across the country. And I think even more importantly, Jay, if I may, if you go to any American stores right here in America, or anywhere that you are in the world, and the particular retailer does not carry the Lafayette brand, and you ask for them to carry it, right? And you insist, and you write letters, and you let them know, just like you write to your senators if you want something matters to you. This is how we're going to expand. These are how we're going to support Black businesses, is for Black people demanding where they spend their money for the product that they care about to be available, because it is a journey to get your product everywhere. Right. But if it's not there, and my job first and foremost is make sure that it's there. And if it's not, then please ask the store. This is the name of the brand, and you are to carry this product.
Man, do you have any issues? You know how in the hair care, Black hair care market, the Koreans have a stronghold in that market space. It's here in the States anyway. Do you have any problems getting into any of those stores, hair care stores that are Korean owned, or you've been okay to be able to get in there?
Definitely, JD. These again, that's what I kept saying, controlling our destiny, right? We our sisters primarily are spending lots of money, and that money is going to somebody else's pocket that don't even live in our communities.
Right.
But it's not to say, I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying or trying to be politically correct. Right. We are in one world. We are all brown people, and we need to be tolerant and love each other and be our neighbors. Right. But the fact is, the dollars don't measure up. Yeah. Right. And how do we do that? It will take time. So yes, to answer your question, is a challenge, and is a difficulty. And what we're doing, lots of those places is really cutthroat. Right. And if you're like an organization like Alafia, and you have to conduct those community projects, you can't give the product for nothing. And we can't also sell junk. Those products have to have integrity, and they need to be clean. And we're not getting compromised on that. And so that makes it also difficult, because they're willing to sell junk. Right. So what I'm going to say on that, yes, is a difficult road. And I just ask our sisters and brothers when they go into those stores that they demand again for product like Alafia to be carried, because the minute that we demand, the minute that we trying to use our dollars, people will listen a little bit. We have more power than we think.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a strong point. And I talk about weaponizing your dollars, and not necessarily to hurt other people, but weapons are used for defensive purposes too, to protect yourself. So you need to be able to be intentional, family, where we spend our money. And we need to make sure that we spend it with companies and organizations and people like Alafia.
Thank you.
Because that they have more than a dollar at interest. Their interest is you. Their interest is the community. It's the worldwide community. So like I said, man, I read your story, brother, and I was like, man, it's just amazing that you've been able to create that intersection of commerce and impact, social impact. And that's huge, man. It makes, I hope the light bulb goes off for a lot of people, because I know when you're first starting out, it's about, I got to make money so I can keep the lights on and, eat and all of that. But when you get to a certain level, I think your mindset kind of shifts. It's always been there, but now when you get to a level where, okay, I'm okay right now personally, let me start seeing what I can do for my brothers and sisters and help other people. You can't help others until you help yourself. So
Definitely.
get to that
Definitely.
point first, but always have in the back of your mind, how can I serve? How can I be of service?
That's right.
And brother, you mentioned service doesn't have to be just money. It could be time. It could be other resources that you provide. And I think if we had more people like you, man, that were, out here, championing the things that you're doing, we'd be in a lot better place, man.
We'll get
Yeah.
there.
Before
Yes,
we,
go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to ask you before we close on out. Is there anything you want to say to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family? And then I'll have one more question for you.
I think Jay, even having the conversation with you, right? We need the brothers and sisters to continue to listen to you, because as you bring different people to share and to talk about Black matters in a way that are solution oriented or to help motivate others. I think there's just something very powerful in that. So brothers and sisters who are there, I say they just continue to listen to those that have not yet come on to the program, and above all, for you to continue what you're doing, man. You talk about what I'm trying to do. You look your own record. We need brothers and sisters like you, and when we do that, the world will become a more peaceful place for all of us. So I'll stop there for now.
I appreciate that, brother. Last question, man. If you had an opportunity to have a conversation with anybody, living or dead, who would it be and why?
These it's not necessarily business, but it is a business. And if you allow me, I would say two people.
Yeah, that's fine.
So one of those people is you, Jay, right?
Oh.
You. Right?
That's the first time I got that. Well, we're going to chop it up after the interview anyway. So
that's right. So it's you, and then that's it's a blessing to be able to speak to you. And I said that for profound reason, and I've been saying that all along. Mm-hmm. When you look your record, you look the business that you created and what you're doing today to bring the community together. Because we're not back in the 60s or 50s or 40s. We need to fight for justice in different ways today. Isn't a different shape, and you're doing that. So I'm honored I get to speak to you. But the other person dead will be Fela Kuti from Nigeria. Okay. Kind of mixed record in some ways, depend which angle you look Fela from. Mm-hmm. But to me, Fela is a big icon, at least for me, right? Because of his music, but because of his authenticity of the continent, but yet be able to share with the world. Right. He's sharing with the world in the way that brings respect to the continent, but also is using music to make change, and willing to sacrifice whatever it takes. And I just have so much respect when people are self-sacrificing for the greater good. So that's and if I were to meet Fela, I have lots of questions that I'm not going to say them in the air. But
oh man. Well, I appreciate you, brother, for coming on and sharing your experience, your wisdom, and your story with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family. And like I said, man, we're definitely gonna stay in touch, because when I go over to Ghana, man, I need you to over there to show me around a little bit, bro.
No doubt. I'll be there. I'll be there, Jed. I'll be there. You're coming, and I invite everybody in your family to come.
I appreciate it.
It's our home. It's our home.
That's what's up. Man, I got a big family, man. I might have to
Hey, you can't be more than me. I'm talking about 42 brothers and sisters. So
can't get no bigger than that, huh? My man, I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Jay.
Family, that was an amazing interview with Mr. Olowo-n'djo Tchala, the founder of Alaffia Products, and that's spelled Alaffia. Alaffia. Make sure you guys support my brother. He's doing so many positive things for the community. Before I get to my takeaways, guys, I just want to share my social media contact information and my resource links. So once again, at the top of the show, I mentioned my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. You can go to anewblackwallstreet.com. Pick yourself up a copy. Print version is $14.95, digital version $9.95. Now, if you need additional assistance building your successful, sustainable e-commerce business, my flagship online course is available, Brand Builder Academy Elite. Go to BBA Elite and you can enroll in the 15-week implementation program that takes you from starting a business, the ideation, to creating your business, all the way up to selling on all the major sales platforms and your own platform. So if you're looking to build a physical products brand or a digital products brand, BBAelite.com. Also at the top of the show, I mentioned my 2 platforms to help circulate dollars in the worldwide black economy. The first one is BeSmartByBlack.com. So if you are a black product producer and you want to sell your products to black folks all over the world, upload your product information, BeSmartByBlack.com. It is free. You have nothing to lose. Now, if you are a freelancer, if you do anything on Fiverr.com or Freelancer.com, upload your information to HireBlackFreelancers.com, HIRE, blackfreelancers.com. Once again, it is free. You can connect with black consumers and black businesses that want to hire black freelancers. Also, I mentioned at the top of the show, BEB Academy, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Academy. Get 5 days free access to the academy with all of my online content, trainings, workshops, masterclasses. Just go to bebacademy.com and enroll, and you can have access to everything for 5 days. The only thing that is not in the academy is the Brand Builder Academy. That is my standalone flagship product. But everything else, go to bebacademy.com. Now, all of that was a mouthful, so go to BEB Connect, and there'll be links to everything I just talked about, and also my social media links, which I'm going to give you real quick. So anything long you want to connect with me, hit me on my email, jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, JAYJONES at blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, Twitter, jjones001, Instagram, I have 2 accounts, jjones for real, JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL, and I also have another Instagram account, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Now, LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. Just look for J Jones, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Also, if you're on Clubhouse, connect with me at I am J Jones, at I am J Jones. Once again, just go to bebconnect.com and all of that content will be there. That takes you to a page on the website. New website coming soon. All right, let's get to these takeaways from today's interview. And really, guys, I'm going to keep it kind of simple and quick because Olowo-n'djo basically laid everything out for you. And one of the things that I really took away from this is basically the commitment, not just to make money, but the commitment to help your community in the process. The things that Alaffia has done for women and for people on the continent, being able to help support some of the births, the schools, the cooperative, allowing people to have the opportunity to earn money and make money. It's just an amazing concept and an amazing story. Also, what I liked was Olowo-n'djo's stick-to-itiveness. So if you look at the story, the way it began, statistically, he probably shouldn't have been successful. But what he did was he kept his nose to the grindstone. He continued to move forward and he looked for opportunities. But like I said, the beauty in all of this, it wasn't just an opportunity for him to make money. It was an opportunity to develop and help others in the process. And if we can all start thinking like that, trust me, we be in a much better world. Family, we're about to close it on out. As I say each and every week, please continue to spread the word about Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the podcast, the website, the movement. It's about building an economic power base in the worldwide Black economy. So please share this with your friends. Anything on social media, we greatly appreciate it. Share the whole BEB ecosystem and what we're trying to do. Also, you know how we do it, family. Anybody that's on the platform, please make sure you go to your stores, your Targets, your Walmarts, Bed Bath & Beyond, CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, and online and support Alafia products. ALAFFIA. That's how you spell it. Love you guys. See you same time next week. Peace.